Hi, welcome to a live recording of my podcast. In this episode of Leadership English, you're going to explore what fears and insecurities you still have that are holding you back from elevating your career. My name is Tanya Suarez, and as a leadership communication coach, my goal is to be here to help you as a non native speaker speak English clearly and confidently, specifically in a professional setting. Now, today's episode is a continuation of a three-part series because I'm giving you a sneak peek into my Leadership Communication Accelerator program. And let me go ahead and pull up the next slide. Now, the Leadership Communication program is really special because it's for your experience as a non native speaker. It really is different when you're a non-native speaker in a leadership position. And I found that there wasn't really enough training out there that took that into account because it's more than just being a good leader. It's also being able to take all of your past leadership experience and have it translate in a way that you can apply it. Because a lot of times as a non-native speaker, what I see happens is that frustration of, oh, if I could explain myself in English, then it would be so much better. And I don't want that going through your mind anymore. I want you to be able to be your full actualized self in English so that you feel equally as confident. Now, as you can see here, the three parts of my program are confidence, clarity, and connection. So, in the last two episodes, we went over confidence and clarity, which means that today we're going to go over connection. This is a huge part of leadership communication and a huge part of what you, as a non native speaker in a leadership position or a professional, it's a big part of your insecurity. And this is something that's really, really important. As you can see, I'm super passionate about it because there are certain moments, and we're going to explore them today, that you're still allowing your insecurities to hold your career back. And I don't want that for you. So let's take a look at what some of those moments might be. So, in order to really understand the magnitude, let's take a look at this particular quote. Business Businesses are organized globally and not regionally these days. We want to become more efficient by collaborating across geographies. English is an enabler of that. So, this really highlights the impact that English has had on the global nature of business. This is also something that I want you to take into account that not everybody is a native speaker. English is used all over the world for business and in corporate meetings. You're not alone. Now, I'm going to venture to guess that that's not going to bring you a lot of comfort because if it did, you wouldn't be here. So, what we want to do is how can you be yourself? How can you be in a state of improvement, but also be confident and get things done in the moment? Because that's where the struggle is for non native speakers. It's being able to accept. I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. It's being able to accept that you'll always have more to work on. There will always be more grammar to improve. There will always be more words and phrases that you can learn and use. But how to have that part, accept it, but then be able to thrive in the moment without that causing anxiety. So let's take a look at some of the things that you might be avoiding. And this is really, really important to me for you to explore. When we go through this list, the last three, of course, are the most impactful. But this is what I want you to see. Even if you think, oh, I have that or I do that, pause for a moment and just trust me. Go with me here. Now, the first one is updating your LinkedIn profile. This is nonverbal English. And yet, everyone that I work with, and I work with all non native speakers and executives in those positions who, even after all these years, are still not updating their profile. Maybe you have some of the basics, but be honest with yourself. Are you avoiding logging in? Are you avoiding updating anything? Part of it, you might think, okay, this is what people usually come to me with. The pushback is, I don't want to be like other people that are kind of annoying on LinkedIn, so I don't really want to engage. Okay, but the thing is, you can be whatever you want. You can use this platform however you want. So what I do with my clients is we explore how can we most authentically show up, because this is your virtual executive presence. I think it's a non-negotiable. It's so easy too. This is a free platform where you get to make a first impression usually, because a lot of times before meetings, whether it's with potential clients or current customers or other executives and companies, people will check you out. And the first thing they're going to look at is your LinkedIn. So make sure that the first impression that you make is really strong. And while it's nonverbal, it doesn't mean that there's not English involved. And that's where I feel the pushback really is, and the defensiveness or the fear that you don't want to update your about section because you're afraid of making a mistake. You're not sure if the grammar is going to be correct, or even if you can get that corrected, you're not sure if it's reflecting the you that you want to reflect. So the tone becomes a big part of that insecurity. And so this is something that we do in the program together. It's really about exploring, who do you want to be? This is all part of what we talked about in the last two episodes. What is your executive presence? Who do you want to be in this part of your life? And then how can we make everything about yourself, how you speak, how you walk, how you present yourself in your profile, match that? So I want you to think about that and go look at, and look, if you don't even have a picture or a background picture, at least do that. At least have those two things that are visuals and a headline, just your job title and company if you need to. If you're in the program, I'll help you optimize it even more, but at least do that for me today. Now, the second thing has to do with LinkedIn as well, and it's posting on LinkedIn. I know that this can be really intimidating for a lot of non-native speakers. Not only is posting online, it can be kind of awkward when that's not your job, when you're not a content creator. In addition to that, you've got the fear again of, what if I make a mistake? What if I post something or reply to someone, comment on something, and I inadvertently offend someone? I don't, it's that doubt of, what if the tone is wrong, but I don't even know? And I understand that fear, because a lot of times if you're communicating and writing in a really direct fashion, or if you do for some reason pick the wrong word and it causes some confusion or offense, I get where you're coming from. However, there are certain ways that you can do this in a safe way. You want to find out what's your comfort zone. Start with something. And sure, liking people's comments, okay, that's something, but I want you to do something more in writing. Whether it's commenting on someone who posted an article, read it, read part of it, and then comment on, oh, I really enjoyed this part. Or if they read an article and they're sharing that, you can say, oh, I read it too, and I found, I really enjoyed your takeaway. You can find ways that are simple for you. If you don't want to interact in that way yet, it could be as simple as sharing things. What about people in your company, other peers in your industry? Find out what they're writing or posting, and you can reshare. You can share the links to their articles, their books. And this is a great way for them to see that you're celebrating them. Point being, there's like 40 different strategies for this. But what I want you to explore right now is this something you're avoiding? Do you post on LinkedIn? Do you write posts? Do you write articles? Do you have a newsletter? If not, it's not because you don't have time. For both of these things, with ChatGPT and all these other amazing AI resources that we have, time is no longer an excuse. So, what's holding you back? Is it you don't know how, you don't know what, in which case, sign up for training. You can sign up for the accelerator that I have. Go on YouTube, look up videos. If it's fear of the English, I really want you to strategize. What's the bottom line, right? Like, what's the easiest thing that you can do that will help you feel more active? Because sometimes we just need to break through that initial fear. Now, the third one is participating in small talk. Small talk is, it's daunting a lot of times, even for native speakers. I find for native speakers, their dislike of small talk is that it's superficial and it's kind of boring. For non-native speakers, sometimes that's the case as well, but mostly it's that people feel frozen and that they don't know what else to say once the basics have been done. Like, once you say, how's the weather, or where you're from, there's this panic of, I don't know how to transition to a new topic. I don't know how to change the subject. I don't know what else to talk about. What if they ask me about something that I don't understand, or I don't know how to participate? All of that anxiety will usually lead to either you completely avoiding small talk situations. Maybe you show up at the virtual meetings and you just stay on mute until it's your turn to present. Maybe you don't go to happy hours with your company. Maybe you don't sign up for events. So, this is where I want you to think about first, what is your perception of small talk? What is it that you feel you lack? And then I want you to really think about what are the moments where you don't participate? Because that's really, to me, that's number one. When you see how many opportunities you're missing out on, because small talk is everything, it's very highly valued in American corporate culture. Also, it not only helps you feel a connection to people and build your network, it's also very valuable when you're presenting. Because if you can have good small talk before a presentation, whether it's in person or virtually, what that does is it helps you kind of get those initial butterflies, if you will, out of your system. It helps you realize that you're talking to people that you know, and it allows you to then be able to present in a way that's sharing, which feels more conversational. When you have really strategic small talk, you're able to explore what people's expectations are, what their needs are. I'm thinking for a presentation in particular. And then you can call back to that. Like, oh, remember how you shared with me that latency was an issue that you were struggling with your current provider? This is how we solve that problem. So then it becomes very personal. So that would be on the corporate side. From the personal side, small talk is wonderful because it allows you to get to know people and it allows people to get to know you. And this is something that's really special because those moments you're going to bond with someone more over, let's say they really enjoy skiing in Aspen and you find that out during small talk. Then you want to remember those moments. If you see a cool article about a new resort opening up, you can send that to them, whether it's on LinkedIn, send them a message and say, hey, I remember you told me you enjoy skiing here. Check out this new resort. So then you're able to have communication that's not always, I'm selling something. I have a business thing to talk to you about. That gets draining. And likability is a big part of leadership. Getting promotions, it's at this point, it's more about who you know over what you know. There are so many qualified people once you get into the executive level. Personal relationships really make the difference in terms of opportunities, promotions, deals, all of that sphere. And non-native speakers sometimes miss out on that because they think, no, 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 I just need to do the business and then get out. I don't want that for you. So I really want you to think, what's one opportunity that I can try a little bit to be a little more open? And what I recommend, if you don't know what to talk about, a big part of the training that I do is exploring those topics, really getting proficient at it and understanding how to change the subject. But today I want to leave you with something. So I want you to lean into curiosity. Because when you're curious, there's no pressure on, I have to know everything, I have to share everything. So what happens is you're able to confidently, whatever is being spoken about, oh, tell me more. Oh, that sounds interesting. What is that? So then you're able to participate more from an inquisitive level where you can just ask about things. And then when it's relevant and you feel comfortable, you can open up yourself. But that's a good way to take some of that pressure off. So today, pick something that you're going to say something at. So whether it's, hey, how is everyone? Maybe you're even avoiding that. Think about colleagues that you have that you maybe don't know anything about them on a personal level and find a safe, superficial thing that you can kind of engage in, maybe about their hobbies or what they do on weekends. So think about what those moments are, pick one, and try to do something this week. Now, the small talk directly leads into why you might be avoiding number four, networking at events. Networking at events is 99% small talk, 1% business talk. So if you're not comfortable with small talk, you volunteering to go to events, which by that I mean dinners, corporate dinners, going to conferences, going to bigger regional meetings, you might be saying no to those things. You might say, oh, no, send somebody else. Or, oh, no, let the CFO do it. And you're the CEO of the company. So you're missing out on being the face of whether it's your company or your position. I want you to think about how many times have you said no, or how many times have you seen a conference and thought, oh, that would be really good for me or for the company, but I'm not going to bring it up. I want that to not be an obstacle for you. So, what you want to do is not only make an effort, which is putting yourself out there, find the events that you want to go to, but then you want to master, okay, once I'm there, how am I going to, work on your posture, work on your small talk, work on all these things that we've talked about in the last two episodes and today. Because when you have a strategy, I find then, especially for non-native speakers, if you know you have a strategy, if you know you practice certain things, you have more confidence. Now, if you are thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to go from avoiding everything to going to a 10,000 person conference, that might be a big leap. So, something that I recommend and I do for my clients is go to meetup.com, go to social websites, Eventbrite, go to things within your community, pick something that's low risk. A great place to practice small talk, and almost every city has it, is a walking club. So whether it's a walking club or a hiking club, go to, again, Meetup will have a bunch of those. Look at your local city's events and see what you can join. Walking clubs and hiking clubs are fantastic because everyone's kind of chit-chatting and doing small talk, but you're moving. And you can, if you're kind of you don't have a connection with one person, like, okay, it was so nice to meet you. And you walk a little faster and go introduce yourself to someone else. So then you get to feel the anxiety of going to the event, do the breath work, practice how are you going to calm yourself down. Then when you're there, you start flexing the small talk muscle, but in a place where there's low risk. So that's a big part of the training that I do. You want to find micro moments where you can strengthen these bigger skills so that it doesn't feel like jumping into cold water when you have to do it. And doing that, not only are you meeting more people in your community, which for a lot of busy executives, sometimes you become very insulated. You're only with family or you're only with your community of friends. A lot of times those are people who are native speakers of your language. So then it's less English practice. So this allows you to broaden your network on a personal level and get to know yourself. Get to know, like, what do you enjoy talking about? So that's a really low risk way with high reward. And last but not least, I want to take you from not doing any small talk to being a small talk expert. And then I want to push you to go to events. And then my final goal is to help you feel confident enough that you're open to participating at these events, whether it's getting on podcast interviews or being interviewed on panels or actually doing speeches, maybe TED Talks, maybe other presentations and conferences. To get to that level, you need to be able to do all the other ones. And so that's how I structure all the training that I do. We want to lay the foundation so that when you get to the bigger stuff, everything is set up for your success. And so part of the training that I do is we identify what is the opportunity that you think would be the best. And so, for example, I have a client who he really wanted to feel comfortable to go on industry podcasts. And so throughout the training, I was able to customize that and really make it bespoke and make sure that everything we did, it's like, okay, instead of that question that everybody else is doing, let's do this one because this is a common question on a podcast. Get you to feel comfortable with it. If you want to do a speech, I would tailor the training to, okay, let's write out the speech. Let's get the main points. Let's really figure out how we can be persuasive and energetic and practice so that by the end of the training, you're not only left with elevated skills, you also have something that you can tangibly grow your career with. And this is something you can also do for yourself. Figure out what would be your goal because not everybody wants to be on stage and give a speech. That's fine. So, what is your version of that? Would it be leading a meeting? Maybe you really want to lead a board meeting or a specialty meeting. Would you like to be interviewed for, something that I do with my tech clients? A lot of times, if they just want to be more involved, it's figuring out, okay, do you want to be a mentor? And a lot of times that means a lot to them. It's like, yeah, I would love to give back. And now that I have this level of expertise, it's like, great, let's find some startup hubs, let's find some organizations, and you want to start volunteering. It's like, how can we position you so that it benefits you, but it also fulfills you? So I really want you to think about how doing all of this effort is going to elevate you professionally, but also personally. It's so amazing that with the globalization of using English as the business language, whether you like it or not, it is what it is, and you can use that as a tool. You can use that for good. So I'm really excited for you to be able to Acknowledge. The first is, oh, okay, I am still avoiding things. And you might not realize that all of the excuses you've made for yourself, like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want the spotlight on me. I don't want da da da. Whatever your excuse might be, when you dig deeper and you realize, okay, if that isn't an excuse anymore, if I can be as authentic as I want to be in these settings, maybe it is that I don't know how to handle Q&A questions, like Q&As in English. Maybe it's I don't want to feel uncomfortable if I'm having small talk and someone brings up a topic I don't understand. Or maybe restaurants are really loud and it's really uncomfortable and I don't know how to be able to participate in those conversations and I'm having a hard time hearing. So all of those things, when you really dig in, then we can be strategic and really be effective in how we pinpoint that and get you to speak up. I'm so excited. I get really excited because that's why everything's structured with those three pillars, why we do the foundation work that we do. This is something that I want you to do for yourself. I want you to be able to be confident that you have the English that you need to succeed. You deserve it. So again, take a look at this list and really think about where your, I don't want to say weaknesses, let's say where your opportunities are. The simplest thing you can do today is make sure that your LinkedIn profile has the background photo, your professional photo, and your headline. Go to my blog. In fact, I'll make an article for this video and make sure I have all the links for you. I have other blog posts with the formula that you need, the prompt that you need for ChatGPT for the about section. It's all there for you. So I want you to figure out, what is your goal? We now have, we're the mid-year review, if you will. So what do you want to make sure that you have done in the next 2 quarters? I like to think that for English progress, you're already a corporate leader. So use what you're good at. You're good at doing goal setting, right? So set a quarterly goal for yourself. Do an annual review for yourself, specifically for your English leadership communication. And this is going to help you keep yourself accountable. If you're with me, if you're in the program, I keep you accountable. Any of the program graduates know I'm texting consistently. I check your goals. I help you. I give you that extra hand holding that, as someone who's busy and who's dealing with some of these insecurities, it's really helpful to have that gentle or not so gentle push. But you can also find ways to do that for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. I want you to remember to subscribe, like, and comment to let me know what other topics you want me to dive into in future episodes. And if you'd like to enroll in the Leadership Communication Accelerator, go to tanyasuarez.com/leadership.